sometimes I think it can bother people in an essence of like, you are basically saying you could do this way better, and maybe they're used to some habit. So like, people don't like change.
No,
that's
never.
the reality of it. So if you change something that people are used to and that's what they know, they're obviously not going to want to change it. So I think one thing that you have to ensure if you're changing something for someone is being able to be like, okay, I'm changing it, but let me show you why I'm changing it and how I'm changing it. You got to reteach them. Like, teach a dog a new trick, basically. If you choose not to explain something to someone, obviously they're going to hate that change.
100%, I agree.
Because you're not providing context. So I think that's another area, like even like in my job day to day, that you can find in differences make a huge difference.
Yes. Many people consider tech to be a growing industry. However, few of us understand what it entails beyond coding or hacking. So we have Gabby Villeda joining us today, and she'll really put a face to it as she tells us what her daily tasks look like, as well as a mindset that she has adopted in order to excel. From her graduation to now, she'll walk us through the path that she's taken, and we hope that you guys find value in her experiences. Enjoy. Today, we have Gabby Villeda joining us. Gabby, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I work as an IT analyst, and I have...
Do you have any like interests you want to like tell the people about?
I like film photography.
You're a film enthusiast.
I'm a film enthusiast.
Yes. How many cameras do you have?
14.
Huge film enthusiast. We love it. So I guess we'll just jump right in there. How did you decide to pursue this career path?
So kind of backtracks to having a conversation with my dad. More or less, he was like, I think business is a better suited area for me. But we were kind of deciding where in business. And I actually ended up with business technology management degree from Ryerson. Basically, the degree is information systems infused with business. I think it was a great choice for me because kind of growing up, I've always just been techie and I'm just good with tech in itself. So that was a good side for me. And then it also kind of prepares you for like the understanding of like business users and like their needs and how to like best kind of care for them because you have that background. So that was kind of nice. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So just good old conversations from dad. So it's like dad always knows best.
Yeah, he did. He did know best. He also put me, like, to think about it, he put me in typing lessons as a kid.
Oh.
So I had, like, those little CD-ROMs that you popped into the computer. I don't even remember the name of it.
You tell kids about CD-ROMs, they're not going to know what the heck you're talking about. MacBooks don't have that anymore.
So you put the CD-ROM in, and it'll teach you how to type. So you type, the cat is here. So it kind of taught me how to type. So that was one thing. And then I used to call Rogers a lot. So as a kid, I realized they could... They
probably didn't like you.
No, they didn't. Because they can hear a little kid on the phone. But I used to mess with our routers as a kid, and then I'd mess with basically hard drives as a kid. That's not really important. We can edit that out.
Yeah, kids don't do that at home. So what do you think, like, as an IT analyst, do people misunderstand the most about your career?
I think it's interesting to think about it because my sister tells people a bunch of different things about my job that I don't do. She's like, yeah, she's an IT analyst. She does this and this and this. And I'm like, buddy, that's not what I do. She's like, yeah, you hack people's computers. I'm like, no, that's not what I do. I support people in my organization so that they can do their job. So it's basically providing them technology that just makes their lives easier.
Okay.
Day to day.
Very corporate. We like it. Okay. But if you wanted to, you could, in theory, hack somebody.
No.
In theory.
In theory.
Okay. Fair enough. So in your opinion, what is the most important personality trait someone in your field or industry would need in order to do your job?
I think always being curious is one of them. Because if you stay curious, you'll always figure out a way to solve something. And you'll always care to do it. Like, it's one of my favorite things when, like, I don't understand something and it's actually troublesome to me. Because I'll sit there and I'll be like, no, there has to be a possible way to make this easier. So I like those things because I feel like it propels you to be better.
Propel. Yes, that's what we like. Yeah.
And it allows you to just kind of think of the best way to do something because you obviously form habits of like, no, this is how you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you stay kind of curious, you always figure out, oh, no, there's a more efficient, productive way of doing this. So why don't we change this? So I think that's really good because it also reduces like processes because you can automate stuff if you stay curious.
100%. I agree.
So yeah, I think staying curious.
And I think the whole notion of being curious, for example, that's something that stems from, like when you're a child. Yeah. That's something that a lot of people, as they grow up, they lose. Yeah. But who are the people that are constantly influencing society and creating that change and evolving, right? And it's like kids at the end of the day. So I don't think that, you know, enough people are curious nowadays.
Also, I think you have to have people that support you being curious, in my opinion.
Yes. Because
if people don't allow that aspect of thinking or shut it down, it's obviously going to shut down that part of you.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been lacking that essence that I'll be like, no, like you can do it this way. And then I provide them reasons of why this way might be better.
They need like that open-mindedness in order to support you. But you're right, like about automating systems. If you understand systems and you understand how to improve them, how to innovate them, that again only propels you further in life because people are going to recognize that intellect and they're going to want to be around you. Yeah. Yeah. You never found that it ever had any like negative like effects?
Sometimes I think it can bother people in an essence of like, you are basically saying you could do this way better and maybe they're used to some habit. So like people don't like change.
No,
that's the reality of it. So if you change something that people are used to and that's what they know, they're obviously not going to want to change it. So I think one thing that you have to ensure if you're changing something for someone is being able to be like, okay, I'm changing it, but let me show you why I'm changing it and how I'm changing it. You got to reteach them, like teach a dog a new trick, basically. If you choose not to explain something to someone, obviously they're going to hate that change.
100%, I agree.
Because you're not providing context. So I think that's another area, like even like in my job day to day, that you can find in differences make a huge difference.
Yes.
Because once you explain something to someone and they have an understanding of why you're making that change and how it actually improves and they get time to sit with it and they deal with it, they're like, oh, you're right, that did save me some time. So I think it's being able to advocate also for that and like doing it correctly where the best, like obviously like go back to like primary school in essence, like what are you doing? Why are you doing it? How are you doing it?
Yeah.
And just explain.
But all in all, what you just described is like teamwork and collaboration. Yeah. And I feel like collaboration isn't necessarily something that is natural to most people, but it's definitely a skill that you have to learn, right? Yeah. So at a certain point, whether you're in grade school, whether you're in college, whether you are at your first job, you learn how to collaborate with other people.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. We're settled on that. So, and then what is like an insult, right, that you've ever received that you're proud of? If you can have one. I don't know. I have a couple, but yeah.
Can't think of an insult at the moment. Oh. This one's rude, but it's not like it's so weird to me. Like it's an insult when people say, "Oh, like you're actually smart."
I hate that. I think that's rude. You're right. It is rude.
Like it's the way it's said. I'm like, what do you mean I'm actually smart? What?
Because then that just shows that they have preconceived notions about you and they expose themselves in that.
So that one's just weird to me. Like,
yeah.
I don't... Like, it's like a backhanded compliment, more or less.
It's such a backhanded compliment. That's, like, we don't like that. We don't support that. But, I don't know. I think I agree with you. That is definitely an insult. And it's a really common one that people give. Yeah. I feel like they don't necessarily have, like, a negative, like, intent sometimes, but it comes off like that. So it's just about being careful with it.
But then I also have great conversations with those people later.
And then
but later I go home and I was like, oh, but you said this, and we discussed like the world of everything after.
Yeah.
So I don't take it to heart. It's just a weird thing.
It can either be like a conversation shutdown or like a conversation opener with that. So hit or miss. So what do you think is like a common myth about your field, like as an IT analyst? I already have one.
You think we're all hackers?
That was like the second one. For me, it's like you're an IT tech, right? If I have an issue, like my MacBook is overheating, because I know people know about MacBook Airs and how bad they get after like 2 years. Like you have to just sub it in for a new one. But I would, if I could, I'd call you and I'd be like, listen, what do I do?
Generally, I actually can't help you with that.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking about this because this thing, I swear, it sounds like an airport. It's so bad. I hate it.
It's the fan in it.
Yes. And I know everyone knows what I'm talking about. If you like talk to people, everybody has this issue. Every MacBook user has had this issue.
It's the Airs. You gotta get the Pros.
Yeah, the Airs is kind of a scam. Yeah. It's just, like the Pro's a real item. Like that's the upgrade that you need.
My Pro lasted 10 years.
You hear that, people? I've had an Air for 5. Just get the Pro. And now, this one's funny. How would your parents describe what you do?
My mom just tells people she works on computers.
We love that. Okay. Keeping it mysterious.
My dad kind of says the same thing along the lines.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, she just works with people. She works at a pension company. And I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, yeah, I do. My sister tells people a bunch of different things, which is kind of funny. My sister, she's like,
you mentioned, like, she tells people you, like, hack.
Yeah, she says that I hack, but she also tells people, she goes from, like, a different array. She's like, sometimes I just get bored. Mm-hmm. She's like, she's an IT, that's how Donnie says it. She'll be like, she's an IT analyst. Ooh.
That's what I got when she said, yeah,
she's like, she like, does, like, Excel stuff, I think. Or she works on, like, modules. Donnie doesn't know. She just gives people different answers.
Yeah.
When she gets bored, and if she learns something new, she'll tell them it's that.
Yeah.
I'm like, Donnie, that's not what I do.
Kind of off, not on the ball, but. Or do you think even like for your parents being immigrants and you being like a first generation Canadian, and this is obviously like new field, new exposure to them. Like for them, how proud are they of you to be in this position?
I know my parents are really proud of me. Mm-hmm. That's lovely. It's very good. In all honesty, like sometimes I kind of forget. Mm-hmm. And it's like interesting because it's to be where I am today, obviously it's my parents. Like I don't think I would be in IT heavily if it wasn't for my parents in essence. Yeah. Because they always allowed me to like break anything, pick stuff up. Like it was like everything I did kind of like makes sense today. Like my dad put me in typing lessons. My dad would be like, no, it's okay, you can figure it out. My dad put me doing invoicing when I was like 8, 9, 10 because he didn't want to do it himself.
That's so funny.
So I knew how to input numbers. Like it makes sense to me that I'm actually in my field because there's so many different experiences that I had throughout my life. And I don't think I would actually be in this field because I think my parents allowed me to do what I did as a kid.
Yeah, and have that exploratory phase, but it was just continuous throughout your life. Like, they really nurtured it into you.
Yeah, my parents really nurtured, like, even, like, I would break film cameras as a kid.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, I'd pop them open, I'd ruin film, and my parents, obviously, they'd be a little annoyed.
Yeah, maybe a little bit angry.
Yeah, but I never really got in trouble for that stuff ever. My dad's like, you did this and this. And then later, my dad would be like, okay, let's sit down. Let's look at it and do it together so we can do it the right way.
Then we break it, but we don't know how to put it back together.
So, like, even, like, there's so many things that I think about. Like, me and my dad, we fixed his truck. Like, we changed
really?
Yeah, we changed the chips in his dashboard. Because
That's crazy.
I forgot what it's called right now. The meter, what's that meter thing called? In the car.
Like
no, it has a name. Hold on.
I don't know what that is. Like how old is the car?
It's a 2006 Ford.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to help you with that.
Car. Hold on. Dashboard thing.
Car dashboard thing.
I don't know. It's the thing that tells you your kilometers. Okay, that's what we're going with.
Mileage?
No.
Okay.
When you're driving your car and you're going 80 kilometers an hour, that thing, I can't think of the name right now.
I don't know what it is.
What do you mean when you're driving? Oh, you know what it is.
I know what it is actually, but I don't know what it's called either. I know how fast I go in a car. I'm not a good driver, but like I know that. I know I'm not a good driver, and I also know like how to read the speed. But yeah. But
if you're a car insurance company, you didn't see this.
Yeah, not at all. But my record's clean, so I'm just leaving that, on the record for all you guys.
So, like, even that, like, my dad lets me, like, we work together, and that, like, he took off the dashboard, we sat there, we repaired it, put it back on. My dad's mirror was taken off by a garbage truck.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, okay, let's see how we can fix it. So we took it off and we put on a new piece. Like, I feel like my parents have always nurtured me to, like, break stuff and build stuff with them. So it's kind of nice.
It's kind of like you break it, you fix it.
So yeah, so I feel like, especially like I guess as immigrant parents, where you're kind of like you learn two languages. You're kind of taught like school is the most important thing if you want to have a successful life.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's different aspects. Like my brother went to school as well, but he did a different type. He went to trade school. My brother's really successful, but my parents really put like you need to go to university, like that's where it is. And I think it's different because a lot of people are successful without school, but it's just like I guess as immigrant children, if you don't go to university, your parents are very
it's like we're like the trailblazers, and it's like we're at the forefront, but at the end of the day we're also trying to figure it out. So we'll take the advice that we get, especially from our most trusted confidants.
Well, also like it's so weird to think about because so many people, like if you have parents that you're second generation and they've lived obviously a life here, it's completely different because you're aware of jobs that exist,
you're aware of processes that, your parents obviously weren't familiar, and I don't blame them whatsoever.
No,
coming
never.
From an immigrant family myself too, and it's just about learning how to become informed. Like
like there's so many jobs I see, like even at work I was like I didn't even think that was a job, and I'm like that's so cool, like to think about, and I'm like it's not even, like, I feel like you can search the internet for days for jobs, but they're so even, like...
Specific sometimes.
They're not specific in any...
Really?
Like, no, like, you'll get an analyst, but you can be an IT analyst. You can be a business analyst.
Yes,
you can be,
like, you're right.
Analyst is such a broad word. But, like, I mean, like...
Yeah, I noticed that, too. Like, you mean
like,
analyst?
associate is also
like,
a broad word.
Consultant.
Yeah. Like, they're all such, like, broad... like, but, like, what do those people do day to day? There's so many, like, different sectors you can go in. So like there's also that you kind of don't get exposed to. So it felt like a lot of it you had to figure out on your own.
So I guess,
but it's not the worst thing in the world, to be honest.
At the end of the day, it's like you learn best through firsthand experience. So they definitely set it up nicely for most people like us. Now, what do you think is your favorite thing about your job versus your least favorite thing?
My favorite thing is I can stay curious.
Yes, we like that.
I can interact with different people day to day. So my work basically has like different broken up sectors. So everyone has such like different backgrounds. It's kind of cool. And then you also meet people that are all also like different like nationalities, ethnicities, and religions. So it kind of gives you like a very cool taste of being able to experience different cultures in essence. So like my team, we have a lot of kind of like different religions. So like I'm like, oh, it's that time again. And then I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then we kind of celebrate it. So that's kind of my favorite part because you get to be exposed more. Like I went to Catholic school. So kind of all I know is like Catholicism and like or like
Christmas
traditions.
Time.
Christmas time. Like that's all I know. So then kind of being exposed to this allowed me to like learn more experiences without actually having to leave. Yeah,
because not until like, for example, like Catholic school, because I went to Catholic school, and in grade 11 you do get to take world religion. But it's just the one class, and after that it's like I can recall, stuff from that class, and I'm very grateful to have had that experience. But other than that, it's like the amount of exposure.
It shuts you down.
Yeah, it's very like limited.
So, I think that's my favorite. It's just people, to be honest.
It's just like interacting is good. Being social is like something that you need to know how to do. And also like you learn so many different things from different people, especially like different personalities. It's kind of cool to kind of see them all in like one place. I can like so that sounds like your like dream. For other people it sounds like a nightmare. I like that. But I know people that wouldn't like that. But you can't avoid it nowadays. No. So what do you think is your least favorite thing? My least favorite thing.
I don't like mean people.
I don't think anybody can say that they like
No,
people.
but I think there's always a way to say something kindly and not be an asshole.
You're right. It is a conscious decision, right?
And it's a choice. So that's my least favorite thing.
Yeah.
So I generally think most people are nice to me. Or maybe I just don't pick up on you being mean. So,
well, I don't know. You give off good energy at the end of the day, and I think that you receive the energy that like you give other people. So it's just kind of that, right? Now, what would you describe yourself as? An introvert or an extrovert?
I'm an introvert.
Are you sure?
That thinks she likes people.
Yeah. So I don't really know. That adds up.
No. I think I'm cold-heartedly an introvert because I go home and I shut down.
You disconnect.
Like I have to disconnect. Like I disconnect from my phone. I'll like read or I'll do something passive, watch TV or like a movie or something.
Yeah.
Just so I can kind of feel like this is Gabby time.
Right? And like
this
your
is
brain
peaceful.
is like recovering from like all day just being on.
Or even like doing yoga because I feel like I can't think during yoga. You're trying to get into position. We love yogis.
Yes.
Or like so I think I'm an introvert, but I'm a very good extrovert when necessary.
So you learned how to be an extrovert.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like challenging, and at what point in your life was it the most challenging?
I think the most challenging is probably university. Shout out to my 3 friends from university.
I get what you mean, especially making that jump from high school to university, and then it's just like this huge social pool at your disposal.
Yeah, no
one teaches you how to take advantage of that. No. And those are your golden years, okay, people? Like, this is when you need to talk to people. This is when you need to network, and it's the most organic way to do it.
I literally, I think about it, all my friends in university that I made, or other friends that I made, were introduced to me, and I think they stuck around, so.
And the thing is that you are definitely, like, you have more than 3 friends. I know you have more than 3 friends. And you're very social, right? So, and I can attest to that firsthand. What do you think helped you learn how to become
retail?
Really?
I think retail forced me.
Yeah.
To kind of be more social, because I was like, oh.
I have to help you.
I have to help you.
like
how do I talk to you?
Associate.
Yeah. I think, customer service itself kind of, I think everyone should have, a customer service job. Because you kind of learn, that's what teaches you how to deal with people. So I think that in itself caused me to socialize more. But I think that's where I got all my socialization skills from. Because I don't even think I did in high school.
In high school, you're so much more shut in. And the thing is, it's that, like I mentioned, the transition from high school to post-secondary is very, different. Because at the end of the day, you have, you move here, you go here, this is your timeline. No one is, it's like free reign. Like, you have a playground in university, and you're not mentally prepared for that unless you're a disciplined person. I was not. That was just a mess. So at the end of the day, you want to skip class. You want to eat, 5 times a day, go eat 5 times a day, right? Yeah. But if you're a university student and you have money to do that, please let me know how you do that, But at the end, it's very different. You have that opportunity when you're in post-secondary to do that.
And it's huge. Networking is huge.
Yeah. And I think, I feel like now society is realizing the importance of networking and really just going above just your academics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once because it's opportunities that sometimes I think you kind of displace and forget that are open to you.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
We want to network. Be a good networker. And now, if you could go back to, speaking of literally high school, right? Go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice. What would it be?
It is what it is. Que será, será.
Que será, será.
Yeah.
That's it.
I actually wrote myself a letter. I think it was grade 12. Our teachers made us write a letter to ourselves that should mail out in 5 years.
Did you still have it?
Yeah, I just got this letter, I think last year.
Oh, crazy.
Or so.
Your teacher
it was a bit,
held on to that?
My teacher held on to it, and she
mailed
mailed it to her house.
Teacher.
Amazing.
That is so... No, first of all, teachers nowadays do not do that stuff. That is crazy.
Yeah, so she mailed us her letter. And it's funny, because I opened that letter. I was like, I wonder what I wrote in here. And I wrote, well, you're in this room at high school, sitting next to these 2 people. And
That's so
honestly,
specific.
I don't know what you're going to do in like 5 to 6 years. I just know that you're going to be happy and you're going to be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And you're going to get somewhere that just leads you to something great.
Yeah.
So I remember writing this letter and I said I didn't want to write this letter because I had nothing important to tell myself other than you'll be fine. And I drew a picture of me on the bottom of it because I had to fill space.
You just had that self-assurance and you're just like...
Yeah. Well, I feel like you never know what you're going to do.
Like, you can't plan it, right?
Well, like, you can always plan everything. Like, I have a plan for the next 5, 10, 15 years of what I want to do. Mm-hmm. But life's going to hit you sometime. And 100%. It's not going to go on the mark. Yeah. Like, it's...
all the time.
Like, it's just... It is what it is. So you have to go with the flow. So I think that's why I wrote it. I wrote... You're gonna, like, there's no target place. Like, I thought I wanted to be at, like, the 5 banks. Mm-hmm. And I did a capstone at, like, one of the 5 banks. And I was like...
At CIBC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't think I want to be at the 5 banks. Like, this doesn't feel, like, cozy to me at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then I found Omer's, and I'm like, okay, this feels like a place I want to be at.
Yeah, it was just like, this is the club, and I fit in it.
Yeah, so I feel like it's just... It is what it is.
Whether it's, and you touch a good point there, because at the end of the day, it's like, you don't know what's going to come. And it's whether it's external factors, and it's other people, other things, or it could be internal factors. Like, you learn things about yourself that you never knew. And it's because you put yourself through certain experiences. And I think that, you know, at the age where you get to really learn about yourself is something that's just, like, amazing.
Yeah.
You have to just try new things. And I think it's so corny to say that. But you know what? It's so true.
Well, when you're 18, you don't have the same ideas, I think, of the world when you're 25.
But the thing is, and now, 18-year-olds don't get that exposure. So I think that's where the whole issue is, too. No. I'm not saying that at you're 18, what do you know? No, but when you're 18, you really don't have the opportunity.
I still, like, obviously, still at this age, I'm like, no idea.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know anything. Mm-hmm. But, like, all you can do is trust.
It is, like,
it's
being
trust.
Humble and just being prepared.
Well, I also think about it. I'm like, sometimes, I'm like, does anyone know what they're doing? No one knows what they're doing.
Nobody, like nobody knows what they're doing.
Like, you can plan to go somewhere, but everyone kind of figures it out on the way. Like you can't know what you're going to experience until you actually experience it. Because within that experience is where you get your best exposure.
100%.
So, it is what it is.
It is que sera, sera. And it's like, it's off topic, but okay, have you watched that one Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he pretends to be a pilot and then he pretends to be this and he pretends to be a whole bunch of different careers? Have you ever watched it?
No.
And it just basically proves nobody knows what they're doing because this guy pretends to be like a professor, I think, a pilot, and then like FBI agent. It was based on a true story, and once like the CIA found out this person was impersonating all these kinds of careers, and I think they were committing fraud. Obviously that's fraud, but they were doing like, you know, like money fraud. Yeah. Anyways, and then afterwards, what they had to do was essentially try and track him down, but he evaded the CIA for years. And when they finally caught him, I think he served a bit of time in prison, but rather than keep him there, they used him for his actual mind and his intellect, and they employed him. So it's just like, you know what? You're right. Nobody knows what you're doing. You have to use the tools at your disposal, and don't ever undermine yourself. Don't think that, like, you know, that it's not enough what you have. Trust me, it is. You just have to nurture it yourself.
And Googling stuff can be your best friend. Or DuckDuckGo.
Yes. Oh, yes. I agree. Like, YouTube, Google, do it all. Like,
yeah.
Everyone does. Everyone Googles everything.
Yeah.
Let's not undermine that resource.
Your doctor might Google stuff.
Yeah. Sadly enough. Sorry, guys. It's just, it is what it is. Que sera, sera. Now, if you had to write a book tomorrow, what would you write about? Or, like, a persuasive essay, okay?
If I wrote a book, I think I'd write on my life. It just, I don't know. Like, you know me, like, on a good level. That my life doesn't make sense.
Never.
Like, it never makes any sense. But it's not, like, bad in any way. It's just, like, that's pretty cool that happened to me.
100%.
Like, it's just luck of the draw is what I'm gonna...
If you want to talk to a lucky person or a person with a good karma, like, it's you.
But I feel like... So, there's a book that I read, and I can't think of the title of it right now, but I think it's the way you frame everything. So I choose to see things in a good light.
Yeah.
So that's also it, I think. So, like, maybe something bad did happen, but, oh, look at this cool thing that actually happened out of it. So,
and
like,
you're just looking at, like, you know, the brighter side of things, not
yeah.
fixating on, like, the negative.
So, I don't know what would my book be about other than, like,
maybe it can be, like,
the cool things that happen to Gabby. The Adventures of Gabby.
And it can be, like, it doesn't have to have, like, a plot necessarily. Have you read the book The Alchemist?
No.
It's so good. I recommend everybody read that, especially, like, in your formative years. It's an amazing novel. It takes you on a journey of self-discovery, but not in a corny way, because it's more of, like, a mystical story. It's just about, like, this boy who he's young, and I think he's poor, and then afterwards he goes into the bigger cities, tries to, like, just make something of himself, and then afterwards he discovers, like, not an alchemist necessarily, but he discovers this person who creates a lot of things, and then he has to learn about himself. He has to enlighten himself in order to do it, but then there's some things that happen, and, like, there's downfalls, but it's so good. It's not long. I think it was, like, less than 200 pages by Paulo Coelho. So good. Everyone should read it.
Okay, so I'm gonna get that book.
Yeah, put it on your, like, Indio book list. Chapters. Yeah, it's really, really good. So, moving on to the next question. What do you think is one lesson your job has taught you that you think everybody should learn at some point?
Ask questions. Yeah. Ask questions. I think sometimes, like, one of my downfalls is I don't like to ask for help. Mm-hmm. So asking questions, I think, always gets you to the best result, and asking for help is so important. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you feel overwhelmed, ask for help. Mm-hmm. You don't fully understand something, always ask for help.
Yeah.
But asking for help is such a good thing because it shows you care. And, like, it also puts you in, like, I think it also helps with relationships. Yeah. And, like, work environment, anywhere, basically, any relationship in any sense. Like, being able to just ask someone, because you ask people for their experiences and their feedback, and it puts your mind in a different perspective.
100%.
So, ask for help. I think that's one of the biggest things.
I agree. Asking for help, just asking questions.
Yeah.
And it's something that even university profs will tell you. They'll be like, does anybody have any questions? And then you look around and nobody has a question. He's like, if you have a question, 10 other people probably have this question, you know?
And, okay, so then on that note, also, if someone asks you a question, and even if you think it's something maybe stupid, or don't make someone feel stupid.
No, I don't like that.
Because that's such a discouragement to a lot of people, and I find that's, like, even
it's detrimental to their character growth, and it's detrimental to your own as well, because who are you to tell somebody that?
Well, even, like, in my job, like, day to day, like, I feel like sometimes people are afraid to ask me questions in IT, and I'm like, no, like, if you don't understand something, I will explain it to you.
Exactly, yeah.
I might over-explain, like, sometimes I ask people, I'm like, okay, do you want me to explain the full concept to you, or do you want me to
There's, like, 3 levels of, like,
of everything that I can give you to this question.
Yeah.
Do you want the over-explanation of it? Fine, I'll give you that. do you want me to give you the quick 1-2 second, like, 30-second pitch? I'll give you that. Do you just want, like, somewhere in between? I'll give you that too. Mm-hmm. Because for some people, being able to get that full context provides them ease.
Yes.
So ask questions. And I feel like I failed at asking questions, but I'm really good at explaining stuff.
You are really good at explaining stuff, but as you know, you said you're not good at asking questions. All I do is ask questions. But I think another great skill, just to, like, piggyback off that, is learning how to ask the right questions. Yes. But you have to be a good listener in order to do that.
I think even...
And critical thinker.
Like, there's one person that, like, in my life has taught me, like, this is why I think I'm good at explaining stuff. He taught me to think before he thinks in like, all aspects. So I'll be like, okay, gonna ask me this specific question, like, what happened? Why did it happen? Mm-hmm. How are you gonna fix it? Mm-hmm. How do we make sure that this doesn't happen?
Yeah.
So, like, all of those kind of, like, day to day in my life, I'll be like, okay, like, if I'm sending someone an email, I'm going to be like, okay, this is what's going on. Why is this going on? What's the solution to this issue? Yeah. Because you also save people time from going back and forth.
100%.
And, like, maybe this is feasible. Maybe this isn't feasible. Mm-hmm. So, like,
by breaking it down, that helps so much.
Like, it's the basic 5 W's, basically. And
yes.
your H.
yeah.
And the how. So I think asking questions is really important. It's just basic fundamentals, I think, get you by everywhere.
100%. Just don't be that person that says, what did you say again? Like 3 times. If you hear the first time, it's fine. But if you're just not listening, then you need to work on your listening skills.
Don't discourage people.
Yeah, that too. Don't break people down.
Yeah.
Build yourself up. That's not good.
And if you give feedback, give it in a kind way.
In a constructive way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's not an attack on a person.
I know. And use just like reinforcing language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you do give feedback, if you know a way to help people get better at it or have a suggestion, throw that out there too.
100%.
Like, it costs you nothing.
Never. So, what is your favorite productivity hack for entrepreneurs, young people, people in your profession?
I don't got one.
You don't have any productivity hacks. What do you use?
Stimulants.
Okay, that's really broad. You need to reel it back in. We do not want to be endorsing all kinds of stimulants. Like, okay. For example,
I do treats, so it's really
okay. That's a good example.
So I think I read this in a book. So I'm trying to think which book it is. Might be Habits book, the Good Habits book.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
I think it's a yellow book.
Yeah, my sister has that book.
Okay, it's Good Habits. I think it's called.
Yeah,
we're getting nodding.
Yes,
for
yes.
anyone
So
that
that
can't
book.
see that. So in the Good Habits book, it basically describes that food can help you build good relationships with other people, and it's.
I have read this. Have you also read Atomic Habits? Is that what it's called?
Or maybe it's Atomic Habits that I read this in.
Maybe it's both, but that book is like
no, it's Good Habits. I read this in.
Okay,
I was
but
supposed
Atomic
to
also
read it.
speaks about like your.
I have Atomic Habits, so I was gonna read it, and then I got distracted by a different book.
And it is really good.
So Good Habits, basically somewhere in there, and obviously I'm paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
Was like when you share something with someone, you make them feel included. Yeah. So. One of my best hacks is people give me treats, and it just makes me happy. So I don't know.
You know why? Because it's at like the release
stimuli
of endorphins, and your brain likes to achieve things. Like it likes to set goals, and when you do like reach your goal, you need to reward yourself for it. It's because that reward complex that
does that make me a dog?
No, it does not make you a dog. Because I do the same thing. And the thing is, that's why people like to use the Pomodoro technique, like when you're studying, right? Because you set a goal for yourself of studying consistently for like 25 minutes. You put the timer. You don't touch any kind of electronics, right? And then afterwards, when your timer goes off, it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even feel time passed.
Yeah.
And I can go on my phone for like 5 minutes. And you really savor it, like those 5 minutes of whatever activity. Or you can go get a treat or snack, you know? And it's like your brain just appreciates it so much.
It's a satisfaction of getting something completed.
Exactly. So I think that's like one of the most effective things that you can do. Because if not, if you just try to like push through things, it's like your brain fog just stacks up throughout the day, and it's just horrible. So I think that's a good, like, even mental health hack. That's really good.
I just like snacks. They get me through anything.
What's your favorite snack?
We're going through, I guess, an Oreo phase, the double stuffed Oreos.
I love fudges so much. It's like I know Oreo's like the OG.
Yeah.
But like, the fudge cookies are so good.
So like when I complete a task, you'll see me eating, or salt and vinegar chips. Those.
I do like them, but you know when they like start burning?
Yeah. Well, mine's probably bad because when people see me at work, they'll be like,
maybe we got you a bag of salt and vinegar chips. If you want some for later.
We're going to hand me a bag of salt and vinegar chips. Hey, you helped me out the other day. I got something for you.
Aww.
I'm like, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Reward me with food.
Why not?
So
that's how you win people in corporate.
I don't know if that's really a productivity hack. It's a hack of getting me to do stuff.
Oh, that's fine. I think,
Yeah.
I might need you to fix that MacBook, by the way. So bag of salt and vinegar chips. Yeah. We'll revisit that later. So what do you think is like the best time of the day for you to get like, most of your work done?
So
like, you have
a time of day? I think early in the morning when it's, I find I work better under white noise or when it's quieter hours at work,
Okay.
I can get a lot completed.
Yeah, in the morning, no one's talking.
No.
Nobody wants to be in the morning.
After lunch, depending on what I eat, itis.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
not
such a real
productive.
thing. Yeah.
So then, gotta get like a tea or a matcha in me.
Oh,
And
love
then
that. Those
after,
coffee runs are just
right?
great. Those,
They-
like, during COVID and everyone's
Yeah.
going on hot girl walks. And you
Yeah.
had to, like, your coffee.
I was on my Starbucks run that
Yeah.
I don't think the Starbucks guy liked me. They just started selling out of everything that I like.
Oh, no. Yeah, that supply chain disruption just ruined it all.
But I think early in the morning, like if you like 8 a.m. till 12.
And
Sometimes
you get your best work done from 8 to 12.
And honestly, sometimes I don't have lunch
impressive.
until like 3 because I'll get distracted on like focusing. That'll be like, oh, it's time
Oh,
to
shoot.
eat.
Yeah, like I have to have
I was
something in
like,
my
I
belly.
forgot to eat. But I think early in the morning or like late at night, like I'll stay up till like 2 a.m. because I'm like, oh, this is really good. I'm like reading or doing something.
Oh my god.
And then I'll be like, oh, it's 2 a.m. I gotta be up for 6 tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't think that works.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Can you operate on like 4 hours of sleep?
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
No.
Okay.
Don't
I
do
feel
that.
like for me, I need like a minimum. Like I was saying this the other day, like 6 hours minimum. 6 to 7 is like good.
Yeah.
If I can get 8, great. But 8 is what you should be getting.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can operate okay, like from 5 to 7 hours.
I can do 4 hours several days in a row.
That is crazy.
It hits you the third week always.
Third week.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't do good with time differences. So I don't
Oh,
sleep.
and you travel a lot for your job, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Like where have you been?
London.
London. Oh my gosh, what's the time
England.
difference between here and there?
5 hours.
Yeah, that can hit.
That hits.
Yeah.
So I
That jet lag is
and
crazy.
and yeah, no. So I don't sleep,
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
and I recommend 8 hours of sleep.
Did
for
you, do you
anyone.
take anything for it, like melatonin
No.
or? Well, shoot it.
Weighted blanket works.
Oh, okay. That's good
Weighted
to
blankets work.
know. Sometimes, like I've like had that as well because again, a side effect from the pandemic because no one did anything. Then afterwards, you screwed up your sleep schedule for so long.
Yeah.
Was the fact that I'd go to bed really late, and then afterwards I'd wake up kind of late, and then.
What do we do?
Yeah. What do you do? So, weighted blanket. No, what do you think is the most underrated tool that's like very indispensable for you, whether it's in your personal life or at your job?
Books and Google.
Books and you know what?
Or
You're right. We
DuckDuckGo.
said this. Google. Everyone just needs to Google. If you know how to Google, it's going back to knowing how to ask questions. So
Well, how to Google is also a skill.
yeah,
Like being able to ask Google the correct questions is
like
a skill.
funnel,
Well,
getting warmer and warmer. To
Well,
what you need to know.
well, it is. Or Reddit. Reddit is like your
Whoa.
best friend.
Don't get me started on Reddit.
Like Reddit has the answers,
yeah,
and it makes you think. Like people are very similar to you. Sometimes you forget it, but like
Yeah.
they all have the same tendency. Someone's had to ask a question that you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And if you can't find it on Google, I promise you, if you type Reddit next to it,
And the thing is, Reddit is like the original Twitter. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that's where all those kind of like taboo, like dark web things are found. You have to surf a little bit, but I'm telling you, you find some things that you would never imagine
No.
on Reddit.
like Reddit has the answers to the, like sometimes I'm like I just don't know. Who's
Yeah.
gonna have the answer? I'm like, oh, this person asked the same question that I'm
Right?
thinking
It's
about.
like a really specific Facebook group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And there's like people are always on there.
yeah.
No
And they're all-
wonder. Yeah, like they did that. Remember that what did they do with the stock
GameStop
yes.
and AMC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reddit was a perfect space for that.
Reddit is
Yeah.
one of a kind.
Truly.
Reddit is the world's best friend.
That's why it hasn't died. And how old is it?
I have no idea.
Right? But it's been around for like ever.
Should I?
Yeah, like search it up. I don't know how old that is. And it's like, I know Instagram more or less like 2010s, I believe.
Who?
How old is Reddit?
17 years old.
That is so old. Oh my gosh.
He's
Reddit
almost
is a
legal
Gen Z.
age, or
That's
she's almost
crazy.
legal age.
It's Gen Z, but like not really. It's definitely millennial.
That's
thing.
2005, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. So we've talked a lot about books, but are there 3 specific books you would recommend?
Ooh, okay. So, Malcolm Gladwell has my
Okay.
heart. There's a specific, I believe it's called Strangers. Hold on. We're gonna search this.
I feel like I've heard of that.
It's
But
called,
I could be lying. I don't know.
Welcome. I'm very bad with titles of books. I only know Malcolm's name because I have 6 of his books.
Oh, okay.
And I only bought them off the basis of this one book. Talking to Strangers.
I know which one you're talking about.
It is top 10, one of my favorite books.
Everyone says that you need to read this in your life. If you want to know how to talk to people, you have to.
It's incredible because it reminds you back of, you don't know anything that people are like happening in anyone's lives, and it kind of puts you back into the perspective of just be kind. Like,
yes,
it really does. It also gives you like different insights on like how to view certain situations that happen in the world. So yeah, I have a lot of love for that book. Melinda Gates.
Oh yes,
it's
one of her books.
It's one of her books. I don't know if she has.
We know the
several
author.
books. There you go.
Very famous.
Melinda Gates. It is her book. I should search the word book next to it. That would have been helpful. Moment of Life.
Huh.
I really love this book. Moment of Life kind of discusses how to uplift women.
Yeah.
And how uplifting women in society uplifts communities. So it kind of goes through a full like range of like how like poverty can be changed with giving women power in doing the farming. So I think I love that book.
I think it's a really great book. And you know, it touches on like our first season actually of our podcast. It's women's empowerment, women in business.
Yeah.
And I feel like that should be like our book recommendation of the month, you know, Melinda Gates.
So Moment of Life. It was given to me by work too for
nice.
women in tech. And it honestly, I love the book. Like, yeah. Another book I'm thinking of. Honestly, a recent book that I read, I can't think of an author name. Let me just look it up. They're New Zealand. They're from New Zealand. I know that for sure. It's called Girls That Invest, I believe. Yeah. Okay. It's called Girls That Invest.
Okay.
And it's by Sim Kaur. Kaur. I'm very bad at pronouncing names as well.
Oh, Kaur. Okay.
Kaur. Is it Kaur? Simran Kaur. Or Simran Kaur.
I'm bad at pronouncing names as well.
Okay, so the other book recommendation that I have is Girls That Invest, Simran Kaur. And that's what we're going with.
Love it.
This book kind of just touches around making investing easy to understand and not like gatekeeping it in any like harsh concepts. So I think like in a lot of things of life, people use terms that don't let people kind of like understand what's
they're not
happening.
layman terms.
Yeah, no, they don't use it in the lamest terms. Yeah, that's as simple as it is. So this book kind of puts everything into the lamest terms as possible, and it allows people to kind of understand, like, hey, what's an ETF? Like, cool, it's just a bunch of different companies built into one stock.
And it's like when you were first getting into that, and that's something that even like we spoke on, like our parents being like immigrants, my parents immigrants as well. It's something that they had to like introduce themselves to, and they really like, you know, had to learn, and they had to outsource. And now we have so many things at our disposal, books and Google, like we said. So
like this book kind of like touches on all the aspects of just making it easy for you to understand like how to do it, why you should do it. So like it doesn't feel gatekeeped. It's obviously not a book just for girls. She named it Girls That Invest because women aren't as exposed to kind of like investing. But like one of my favorite facts in the book was women's stocks. Like when women invest, their stocks perform better than men's.
Really?
Because women are less emotional. When it like they have stronger, I don't know if it's less emotional, but they have stronger kind of like emotional ties when it comes to like holding stocks.
Oh, okay.
Where like,
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. The issue is sometimes people like they will buy like too late and they'll sell too early. That is a consistent.
So like women have more patience. So like it was done in like I think a Forbes study or something. So like that was an interesting perspective. I really like this book actually. Yeah. I read it really quickly. It's not like a hard read in any way.
That's good. So, that's important.
I think those are my 3 books. So Malcolm Gladwell, Talking to Strangers, Melinda Gates, A Moment of Lift, and Simran Kaur, Girls Done Best.
Wow, you remembered all of them. And actually,
Yeah.
just going back to millennial thing, for yourself, like, being a woman in tech, and what would you say to another woman considering a career in tech? Like,
Just
when
do it.
you decided X amount of years ago, do you think it was different versus now?
Well, it's weird because I don't think I really realized kind of like the biases or like how minimal amount of women are in IT.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I go back to think and I'm like, oh, in my program, I knew like 5 girls in my program.
Out of
My
how many?
program probably was like 500 kids that graduated
That
with
is
me.
ridiculous.
And like I didn't really like think about it like much.
Yeah.
And like I think I sat in like one of my friends like HR classes and I was like, oh, that's like one moment where it hit me. I'm like, wow, this is like a lot of girls here.
Yeah.
And like it didn't really hit me much, but where it hit me a lot was like at work.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like, oh, okay, like there's 2 girls on this team. And like now my work has gotten like, I think like there's a lot of like more women and like visibility of like women in tech.
Mm-hmm.
So like at first I saw it like heavily and now I'm seeing like it's growing.
Yeah.
I say just do it.
And you would say there's definitely a lot of opportunities for women in tech.
Yeah.
And
Most
I
definitely.
think as well, like, it's quite a reality that for women to move up in certain industries and certain corporations, it's like they find it significantly harder than men due to certain aspects, right? But does that apply in tech as well, you would say?
Honestly, I just think everything kind of has some type of barrier of entry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're good enough, like, and you know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what you're talking about, you'll be fine.
Okay, that's good.
You'll be fine. Obviously, like, it's interesting because, like, I always think about it in this aspect. I've been lucky where I get, like, there's no guy, like, that works on my team that has ever deteriorated any skill that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're so, like, supportive, and they've always been like, no, you got this. We
That's
have your
amazing.
back. So, like, I feel like I've always had, like, such, like, a good, like, support team.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm lucky in that sense. And no one's kind of, like, questioned anything. It's very funny because sometimes I think women have more biases of who they see in IT or tech.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, that's happened to me before, but I don't know. I just say do it.
Yeah.
Do whatever makes you happy. and
Right? Don't hold
brings you
yourself
joy.
back.
But
Nike.
Nike.
Just do it.
Nike. Or paid advertisement.
Yes, just insert the endorsement. Now, what do you think are 3 movies you'd recommend?
I don't know if I have 3 movies.
Okay, like 1.
Dark Knight.
Which
just-
one?
The Dark Knight. The 2008.
Isn't that Dark Knight Rises?
No, that's Dark Knight with, like,
Ben Affleck?
no.
Okay.
It's Dark Knight.
There's so many Batman.
It's the one with, Christopher Nolan. Guys, I'm bad with
no,
people's...
you're on the right track, but I think that one's like way older.
No, it's 2008. I know when my favorite movie came out. It's 2008.
For some reason, I find 2008 was a long time ago, so fair enough.
It's The Dark Knight with Christian Bale
Okay,
and
yes.
Heath Ledger.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Love him.
We love him. So, favorite movie, just on the basis it brings me joy.
Yeah.
Do I have any other favorite movies? I probably do, and I just can't. Encanto's a really good movie.
That was such a good movie.
It's such a wholehearted, like,
so wholehearted,
We
so
love-
wholesome.
we love
I was
Colombia.
like thoroughly entertained. Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
That was such a whole. Luca was really good.
I love Luca. Yeah, these Pixar movies have been releasing recently.
They're very good.
Yeah, the
I don't know.
storylines are so good.
I guess SpongeBob the movie.
That was horrible. I hated it.
I've watched it so many
It's
times.
so boring. I don't know how you've watched that many times.
Love for
So bad.
David. So
Have you watched it recently?
I don't think I've
Watch
watched
it recently now and let me know what you think.
Well, I probably watched in the last year.
How?
David likes it,
Fair enough.
so I don't know. Do we have? What's your favorite movie?
Gladiator.
Oh,
Yeah.
never seen it. I don't think.
Russell Crowe does not deserve this. You need to watch it. Everyone needs to watch.
You know what
Gladiator.
makes it worse?
What?
Don't know who Russell Crowe
Okay.
is.
I'm not even gonna glance.
I'm a picture person.
there's always people that are picture people. There's people that are actor people. You know, we're just gonna move on. It's fine. Yeah. Now, just to summarize, for example, if you had one piece of financial knowledge or financial tool that you would have liked to have when you were first starting out in your career, starting off in university, what would it have been?
Well, obviously, financial literacy lacks knowledge in Ontario.
100%.
I think they're finally implementing a program, which is great.
But that wasn't there for us when we were younger.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think I was lucky that growing up, my parents kind of always brought up finances.
Yeah.
Like my parents taught me how to write checks. I know we don't use checks now because e-transfer exists.
Yeah, they're archaic.
They're archaic. Like, you could pay bills off of an app now.
Yeah.
But, like, my parents taught me how to write checks.
Mm-hmm.
They told me, like, hey, you got to put the amount after this. So, like, I learned that at a young age. So, like, I think that benefited me. I think it's budgeting.
Yeah.
Save money. Invest money if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Know your risk tolerance. I think read. Like, there's resources out there that let you, like, Girls That Invest. Like, that's a great resource. I love that resource. But there's so many books out there that provide you with, like, basic knowledge and are, like, barrier-free. Like, investing is very barrier-free now.
Yes.
Like, you can get Wealthsimple. You can get Questrade. You can go directly to your own bank.
Yeah.
Before, people had to pay brokers and other stuff to get access to this and, like, pay people, like, different ways for management fees.
Yeah.
You can do it for $1. I don't know. I think Wealthsimple allows, like, fractional stocks even, which is, like, buying, like,
I've seen that. Yeah.
Right? A small percentage of the company. So, like, I think it's just going out there and, like, reading.
Yeah.
But, yeah, save your money and try not to spend it on stupid stuff. But have fun.
Gabby, thank you so much for sharing your experiences once more on the P word today. It was incredibly insightful to remember that although we learn new lessons every day, it is the ability to stay true to our inner child and be curious and intuitive that drives us to success. And I acknowledge that in each field that looks different, but we owe it to ourselves to find what it is. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope that you enjoyed the first episode of the P word, especially as we take on women in business and women empowerment. We'll be back next week with another guest with one of the most fascinating fields, and we don't want you guys to miss it. So don't forget to like and subscribe below.